I want to show you something. This is the website where all of the bad isekai come from, Shousetsuka ni Naro. Here's the all-time ranking of novels published to their site. Do you know how many isekai there are in the top 100? Take a guess. I want you to take a wild guess. 97! There are 97 isekai, 2 romance novels, and 1 mystery in the top 100 books on this site. Even the comedy one is an isekai. I could go further. We could look at the top 1,000 novels and be even more surprised. But honestly, who gives a shit? Like, for example, here we are, number 113. This is the first science fiction novel on this list. Ooh, Hakushu. Take a look at the title. Mesametara Saikyo Sobito Uchu Senmo. Oh my god, it's a space isekai. Dear god, why? Everything on this site is an isekai. Even the non-isekai stuff, that's isekai. Now, the clever of you among you might point out that among the top 100, not all 97 are actually even tagged as isekai. That's right, a lot of them are regular fantasy novels about either video games or just being the highest level hero. That's totally different. Totally different. Not isekai. Definitely not isekai. So now you're probably like, wait, wasn't this video supposed to be about interspecies reviewers? And also maybe, wait, why the hell are you planning to talk about interspecies reviewers? And okay, you got me, but just bear with me for a second, okay? So the first thing that stood out to me about interspecies reviewers is that it's not an isekai at all. It's just a bog standard fantasy story. You have my attention. And the second part that stood out to me is the episode where the demon politician is trying to fight prejudice against demons. And so he gets our intrepid reviewers to visit the hottest demon girl brothel in town because any publicity on demons is going to get people thinking about them and possibly change some votes. Or at least it would if they didn't get distracted by the busty cowgirl brothel. And so behind all these hot cowgirl sex scenes is this really steamy, this really interesting sub-narrative about how personality is related to biology and culture, and it got me thinking about different races in anime and how isekai is completely creatively bankrupt, mostly sticking to elf girls, or worse, humans playing elf girls in online video games. And it reminded me how great stories about strange alien species can be, and that's right, surprise Star Trek essay, boom! Didn't see that one coming, did you, weeaboos? God, I'm so fucking smart. Do me a favor, step on the like button if I got you. Fucking weebs. Don't worry, we'll come back to how this relates to anime later, but first, let me talk about the soapboxing that goes on in Star Trek. I was watching The Next Generation, and there's this episode about this race of androgynous people and the few who go against society's conservative values when they realize that on the inside, they're cute femboys and femgirls. And the first thing I noticed is that, wow, Star Trek really was ahead of its time. And the second thing I noticed is that, wait, this is by far one of the best episodes of Star Trek I've ever seen. So, what the fuck? This should be every SJW's wet dream, and yet it's almost entirely ignored as a one-off queer episode of an overall great TV show, while they go around writing horrible trash that they pretend is progressive, but which is not only incredibly dull, but ironically, extremely reductive of the very people they're trying to stand up for. Actually, hilariously, this episode was supposed to be about gay people, but what came out is an obviously well-nuanced take on transgenderism. So my question is, why are more stories not like this? What makes this blatant moral pitch so much more interesting than all the garbage we've been clawing back for the last 15 years? The answer, like the answer to all other things, is, of course, it's motherfucking aliens, dude. See, the problem is that most SJW stories make the characters the soapbox, which has the exact fucking opposite effect. Ah, yes, you're gay, and your personality is that you're gay. Wonder why people keep thinking that being gay is a choice. Actually, I think we've moved on from doing this to gay people, and now we're doing this to the trendy new gays. Case in point, if you've ever watched Sex Education, it's paradoxically got some of the best gay characters in all of TV alongside, in the 3rd season, 2 very terrible non-binary characters whose personalities are that they're non-binary.
So Layla's a good NB, and I'm a bad one. Is that right?
And, of course, they're both female because they couldn't figure out how to do this to male characters without them just being gay. In Star Trek, what they simply do is make whatever freaky alien race they have that week the soapbox. It's weird that no one's really caught on to this because they're really not moving this soapbox very far, and yet it's infinitely more effective than, well, literally everything else. Let's say you wanted to make a story about gay people. Actually, gay people, not transgender people that you think are gay, lol. Still funny. What you could do is have a species where everyone was gay. Like, say you needed males and females to reproduce, but literally everyone only wanted to fuck like big gays. Why? I don't know. Maybe there was some fault in evolution and the gay species has developed some kind of uncomfortable straight mating ritual to reproduce. Or maybe people were screwing with genetics and they turned the frogs gay and also themselves. Or, as is the premise for a very terrible shoujo manga that just got announced as I was writing this, My Secret Affection, maybe space made the world gay and the girl, you know what, I'm not going to explain this because we all already know how it ends. Dear God. What I was gonna say is that I literally just came up with this off the top of my head and it's already better than 90% of gay characters in fiction, but now I'm actually not too sure. Moving on. Besides the big gay, my idea is already saying that gayness is a thing that just is, but then it could also be saying stuff about human ritual and playing God and self-determination. But what people tend to forget when writing these things is that this is literally just a framework, not a story itself, and yet again, it's still more interesting than most gay characters. What Star Trek does is take this framework and then write characters on top of it. All they really did is make up a species and then make that species gay. I mean, trans that they thought was gay. Still funny. This works so well because the gender shit is baked into the race, and then the soapbox characters are merely characters in a setting. You can have your blunt message, but it just can't replace good characters because people are not soapboxes. People stand on soapboxes because the only thing that stories are ever about is the characters. So I guess the answer to our question is that all these people writing bad queer characters are just bad writers. And even if they watched Star Trek, their takeaway was probably literally just gay. So coming back to anime and that shoujo manga, I wouldn't blame you if you've already forgotten the title because clearly this is going to be terrible for this very reason. Most Japanese media just has very, very terrible characters. You're actually probably a little blind to this if you don't speak Japanese because translators very frequently try to take the dullest, most bland fucking dialogue and make it at least mildly interesting, but Japanese media is quite often the most generic fucking shit ever, and somehow Japanese people put up with this all the time. If you ask them, they say, I'm not a conformist, everyone but me is the conformist, and I'm just playing along because everyone else is so conformist, but then they all go and buy the same fucking shit anyway. And then weeaboos on Twitter make embarrassing posts calling out these translations for not being true to the Japanese. They say a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, and that basically describes weeaboo for anything related to Japan. Jesus fucking Christ. Where was I? I guess my point is that anime needs more interesting characters. Okay, bye, see you next video. Kidding. Kind of, but I guess let's elaborate. The point I want to make today is that Isekai doesn't have to be this generic shit. They're literally just different frameworks for fantasy stories. So the Isekai problem isn't really an Isekai problem, it's more like an anime problem. Just like Star Trek, the Isekai is a framework for a story, but the problem is that the Isekai part is almost always the character, not the framework, and while they could layer interesting characters on top of it, they don't because it's almost always very lazy, very terrible writing. The isekaiing keeps being the character, but that's a framework for a story, not a character. This can't be your character. Yet for some god-awful reason, this shit sells. You've seen the hordes of isekai coming for us every season. And that's because everyone keeps watching it. Dear God, we need to have standards. So I guess this is the part where I'm supposed to offer some sort of solution, but I don't know, man. Star Trek was optimistic about the future. Me, I see where this shit is going, because what I see is a very long tunnel of isekai, and at the end of that tunnel is a future where Japan isekais the entire world so we can have more isekai. Oh my god, no, don't give them any ideas. Stop, no, watch my rants on isekai to prevent this from happening.